This is how you are going to revise if you are a slow learner. Most of the revision advice given just assumes that everybody learns at the same speed. When those around you grasp concepts more quickly and finish all of the work in half of the time, it's so easy to just assume that they are more intelligent. But the neuroscience shows us something different. This has to do with the way in which information is processed, not your individual capacity to do so. So this video is going to help you work with your brain, not against it. First things first, you need to understand the concept of chunking when you are studying, when you are revising. If a math problem or a question in history requires you to remember a lot of information to answer it, you can often feel overwhelmed. You are overloading your prefrontal cortex because the research shows us that your working memory can only really hold 3 to 4 pieces of information at once. Students who get things faster and who can retain this information just understand how to chunk information together. How do concepts link, as opposed to remembering each event in isolation? This is about making connections and understanding how one thing links to the next. Let's stick with history for a moment. We might want to think about the Treaty of Versailles, the consequences, and then what this led to. You want to think about how each event impacts each other. Then it forms as a sort of chunk in your memory. You're not just thinking, oh, there was political instability, there was economic recession. How are those two things linked? And how did they directly relate to the Treaty of Versailles? Those students that get things really quickly understand that prior knowledge changes everything. Nothing that you do in school is going to be taught in complete isolation. Similar to the chunking concept, but not quite, you're thinking about how this thing that you're learning links to other concepts. How does it link to what you were learning last week? Let's switch over to economics because that is the degree that I study. How does contestability, contestable markets, relate to market structures? How does it relate to perfect competition? How does it relate to monopoly? Of course, you are going to need to understand this to get the top marks in the exam. However, when you are learning about the concepts, it starts to make so much more sense. The brain learns most effectively when you link new information to pre-existing networks. These networks live in the hippocampus, which is your memory encoding hub, and the neocortex. When you link to pre-existing networks, it becomes easier to retain information and to strengthen neural connections. Otherwise, your brain is learning a new network from scratch when it's learning something completely new. If you like this video and you found it helpful, be sure to follow for daily study tips.